about the amazing life you lived and some of the great accomplishments and cool stuff you did.
I ain't afraid to love him, and I ain't afraid to shoot him either. That was my quote from Annie Oakley. You are about to learn about the life of Phoebe Ann Moses, or Annie Oakley, including my early years, middle years, adult years, greatest accomplishment, biggest obstacle, and legacy. I was born August 13, 1860 as Phoebe Ann Moses, but my sisters thought Phoebe was too fancy, so they just called me Annie. My father died in 1866 in a December. It was really cold. He was downtown selling some stuff, and a winter storm hit. His hands froze and he lost his voice. A few weeks later, his body gave in and died. Money was tight after he died, so I had to be sent to the dark country infirmary with the Eddingtons. They made sure each child got at least one glass of milk and went to bed with a full stomach. A few weeks later, about 2 actually, a young couple was looking for a new daughter to help Mrs. Wove with chores, since she just had a baby. I asked if I'd have time to hunt. He said yes, but later I found out that he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He beat me when I fell asleep before dinner doing my chores, and I didn't have time to hunt. One fine spring day, I was able to go back to my hometown through train. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough money to pay for the train fare. But luckily, a man standing, waiting to get on the train, had enough money to pay my fare and his. I asked God to keep that fine man who paid my train ticket. But sadly, my stepdad and mom were in poor health, and I had to go right back to the infirmary. Later on in my life, since I knew what orphans and poor children were going through, I loved them. I gave them ice cream and gave them tickets to see my shows. And I was very, very careful with money. Mean spirits called me cheap, but I didn't mind. If anyone called me cheap, I would just think to myself I was frugal with money. At 15, I had to leave that infirmary after the Eddingtons, who I'm sure very miss me now. Right, like 2 weeks after I got out of that infirmary, I was able to make a deal with the Katzenbergers, who worked a general store. They knew that I was a sure shot, so I hunted for them for a year and a half. They knew that I was very good at hunting, and I wouldn't let anyone crack their teeth on some buckshot. I shot them right through the head, birds and buck. One time, my mom was $200 in debt for the house, and I was able to give her that $200 for working for that general store. I was so happy. She was happy too, but I bet I was happier. I saved my family home and I saved my mama from living out into the streets. I got so good at hunting that people started asking for specific animals. Like one person asked for 12 birds up in the sky. Now my adult years started. In 1881, I met my husband, Frank Butler. We had a whole bunch of stuff not in common, but we had two things in common. We were both in poverty, and we both loved hunting. We met in a competition where we had to shoot 25 clay pigeons at the most. I shot 23, and he shot 21. He almost dropped dead when he saw a short, slim girl stand up to go shooting with him. Once I beat him, he figured out that he was madly in love with me. So, he did whatever he could to get me. After we got married, in 1889, I went back to the Wild West show. I used to star in it when I was a girl. I had to spend 3 years in Europe. And in 1894, Thomas Edison filmed me shooting in his New Jersey studio. In 1910, I defended myself for being accused for theft. Oh, how mean that person was. I had to defend myself in court and make sure I wasn't arrested. What else would my husband and our poodle George would do? In 1911 to 1913, I performed with the Little Buffalo Show. In 1913, I bought a house in Cambridge, Maryland. In November 29, 1922, I get injured when my car overturns in Florida. And I died November 3, 1926 from deficiency of red blood cells, or anemia. And my husband died in November 21, 1926. What's ironic is he shot 21 clay pigeons when we met, and he died November 21. My greatest accomplishment was showing boys that equality is real, and us girls are just as capable as boys. And my biggest obstacle is having people doubt me because I'm a girl, a short, slim girl. My conclusion is, keep your eye on high mark and you will hit it. Not the first, not the second, and maybe not the third. But if you keep on trying and keep on aiming, you'll too hit the bullseye of success. Annie Oakley, or me. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions I can try to answer after the text features? Thank you again for listening.